Morning, guys. Happy Tuesday of Earth Week, and today I'm going to be reading the story of Ferdinand. Why is this, related to Earth Day? Because in the end, you'll see that where Ferdinand just loves to be, he finds the beauty of the earth comforting for him. So it's about a bull and about bullfighting. And if you don't know what bullfighting is, it's something that takes place in Spain. It's a sport, and they kind of like egg on the bulls and poke them and try to get them angry. And then the matador, who is like the head bullfighter, tries to get them to run through kind of like a red sheet almost without getting injured. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but that is a sport in Spain. So Ferdinand is this bull, and you'll find out he's not like the typical mean, angry bulls. And my kids are awake, so there's going to be noise in the background. Once upon a time in Spain, and we should probably, Spain is all the way across the ocean. So Spain's all the way on the other side of the world. There was a little bull, and his name was Ferdinand. All the other little bulls he lived with would run and jump and butt their heads together. But not Ferdinand. And there he is. He's just kind of by himself. There's Ferdinand laying in the flowers. He liked to just sit quietly and smell the flowers. He had a favorite spot out in the pasture under a cork tree. It was his favorite tree, and he would sit in its shade all day and just smell the flowers. Sometimes his mother, who was a cow, would worry about him, and she was afraid that he would be lonesome all by himself. And there he is under the tree. "Why don't you run and play with the other little bulls and skip and butt your heads?" she would say. But Ferdinand would shake his head. "I like it better here, where I can just sit quietly and smell the flowers." His mother saw that he was not lonesome, and because she was an understanding mother, even though she was a cow, she let him just sit there and be happy. And look at, I think some of your parents do this. It's like a growth chart, how far you've grown. As the years went by, Ferdinand grew and grew until he was very big and strong. Look how big he got. All the other bulls who had grown up with him in the same pasture would fight each other all day. They would butt heads with each other and stick each other with their horns. What they wanted most of all was to be picked to fight at the bullfights in Madrid. So here's the poster. They're looking for bulls to fight in the bullfight, and all the bulls want to be chosen. That is their goal, but not Ferdinand. Here he is sitting under his tree, and you can see now he has horns because he's gotten a lot bigger. But not Ferdinand. He still liked to just sit quietly under the cork tree and smell the flowers. Don't they dress differently in Spain? I know, very different than where we live. One day, 5 men came in very funny hats to pick the biggest, fastest, roughest bull to fight in the bullfights in Madrid. All the other bulls ran around snorting and butting and leaping and jumping, so the men would think that they were very strong and fierce and picked them. Hopefully in your mind, you're already thinking about what's probably going to happen. Look who's smelling his flowers. Ferdinand knew that they wouldn't pick him, and he didn't care. So he went out to his favorite cork tree to sit down. He didn't look where he was sitting, and instead of sitting on the nice, cool grass in the shade, he sat on a bumblebee. So here he's just about to sit down, and there's the farm in the background. Look at Ferdinand's eyes. I love how the illustrator does that. Well, if you were a bumblebee and a bull sat on you, what would you do? You would sting him. And that's just what this bee did to Ferdinand. How do you think Ferdinand's going to react to being stung by a bee? How would you react? Uh-oh. Wow, did it hurt? Ferdinand jumped up with a snort. He ran around puffing and snorting, butting and pawing the ground as if he were crazy. And look who's watching. The 5 men saw him, and they all shouted with joy. Here was the largest and fiercest bull of all, just the one for the bullfights in Madrid. So they took him away for the bullfight day in a cart. So here he is, he's in the cart, and look at how many horses it takes to pull him. All those horses to pull Ferdinand. And these are what the streets of Spain look like. They're very narrow. So here's a building, and here they're walking through. All those people are waiting for Ferdinand. So what a day it was. Flags were flying and bands were playing. Here's some Spanish words. And all the lovely ladies had flowers in their hair. And if you can look up in here, all these lovely Spanish women have all these pretty flowers in their hair. And who loves flowers? I hope you remember. They had a parade into the bull ring. So here comes a parade. He's blowing his horn. They have beautiful horses. This is a big deal. First came the banderilleros with the long, sharp pins with ribbons on them to stick in the bull and make him mad. Next came the picadores, who rode skinny horses, and they had long spears to stick in the bull and make him more mad. So if you're looking, they poke the bulls with these long things to make him angry. And here were the pins. I don't know if you could see those. I forgot to show you the picture because my dog was running around. Here's long pins. They stick the bull right in his side and to make him angry. Same with these poles. They stick them right in the side to make the bull mad. Not very nice. Here's a matador. This is the man who will go into the ring with the mad bulls. Then came the matador, the proudest of all. He thought that he was very handsome, and he bowed to the ladies. He had a red cape and a sword and was supposed to stick the bull last of all. So here's his sword, and at the end, he is supposed to stick his sword into the bull. Look at Look who's peeking out. Then came the bull. And you know who that was, don't you? So who's the bull that they made and are forcing to go fight? I'm not going to give you the answer. I'm going to ask you that one. Hopefully you know. They called him Ferdinand the Fierce, and all the banderilleros were afraid of him, and the picadores were afraid of him, and the matador was scared stiff. So they see the size of Ferdinand, and they are frightened. Look at his eyes. They're scared. Now, this illustration's interesting. This is probably called, it's like a big, they call it a coliseum or a big stadium. And all these little dots are people. Okay, and this is a shadow, but this is filled with people. These are all people who come to watch the bullfighting ring. Okay, and out this door is where Ferdinand's gonna come out, and he's gonna hope, well, they want him to get poked by the matador. So Ferdinand ran into the middle of the ring, and everybody shouted and clapped because they thought he was going to fight fiercely and butt and snort and stick his horns around. So, oh, my hand was covering him up. So here he comes. He's coming into the bullfighting ring, and everybody's going crazy. The crowd's going wild. Yeah, because they think it's going to be a fierce bullfight because he's so strong. And look what he does. But not Ferdinand. When he got into the middle of the ring, he saw the flowers in all of the lovely lady's hair, and he just sat down quietly and smelled. He wouldn't fight and be fierce no matter what they did. So look at him. They're egging him on. They're poking him. He won't fight. He just sat and smelled. And the banderilleros were mad. And the picadores were madder. And the matador was so mad he cried because he couldn't show off with his cape and his sword. So they are all angry. So they had to take Ferdinand home. So here he is in the cart. He's leaving the bullfighting ring. That's in Madrid, Spain. And they're taking him home. And for all I know, he is sitting there still under his favorite cork tree, smelling the flowers, just quietly. He is very happy. The end. So I love this story because it incorporates a bull who's different than every other bull. And that's kind of like life. You might not be like everybody else. And guess what? That's okay. That's perfect. Mrs. Wendell doesn't like to be like everybody else. So you just have to be you, whoever that is. So Ferdinand was supposed to be raised to be this ferocious beast of a bullfighter, and he didn't want to do that. So he chose to do his own thing, just sit under a cork tree and smell flowers and enjoy nature. So great Earth Day story. I'm going to email your parents a worksheet of a cork tree. So you guys can, if you want to draw on it, that's fine. Or maybe you can draw a bull, Ferdinand, sitting under the cork tree. And there's something else I'm sending along with it. So I'll send some Earth Day things for you. I hope you enjoyed your story. And see you tomorrow on Earth Day.